Anderson Business Coaching inspires extraordinary organizational results by engaging the talents of ordinary people. ABC opens the communication links from the top to the bottom of the organization to tap into an untapped reserve of creative ideas and solutions by the people who do the work every day. Secondly, we identify external resources that have the experience and capability to develop systems and processes that the internal staff can manage.
Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Good Heart Leadership. It's not kumbaya, it's money in the bank. And how do we help everybody create a team of workforce warriors, people who are really engaged and make something happen? And today what I want to share a little bit is we're going to talk about the 5 principles, but in relationship to Norton Kaplan's balanced scorecard. And the reason I think this is important is because there are 4 elements of balanced scorecard, and 2 of the most significant ones are learning and growth and customer satisfaction. And as Norton and Kaplan say, in their book, is that those are intangibles. 75% of a business is about intangibles. How do we engage people, both customers and internally, to really release that cognitive reserve that makes the difference, that grows the other 25% that is the business? And today we're going to talk about something, as I like to say, is that Good Heart Leadership is about entrepreneurship. It can come from any place. But one of the passions that's really exciting to me is watching people who are North End baby boomers, such as myself, who transfer their businesses to younger people who are anxious to have something to be able to sink their teeth in and actually have a run down the runway before they have to start from scratch. And today it's my pleasure to bring to you the owner of IntlDaySpa, Mimi Barr, and the person she transferred it to, Cori. And it's amazing. The story is wonderful, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce it to you. Cori, it's wonderful. And Mimi, thank you so much.
Good to be here.
Mimi, I'm going to start with you.
Yes.
When did you start IntlDaySpa? And tell us a little bit about, what happened over the years that permitted you to make this transition.
Well, I've been in the beauty business since 1958, and I love the beauty business. And I was teaching high school and decided to leave teaching and open just a little room in the back of a beauty salon, and it eventually grew into IntlDaySpa. And it's international because I travel and I study beauty industry trends all over the world. And so it just grew, and we're in Redlands, and it's a fun thing. So that's where it started.
Well, tell me a little bit about, because basically, the reason that we're doing this is that the difficult part for people in our age group is that how do we find somebody to take over for us?
Yes. I had IntlDaySpa for about 20 years and decided I'm 75 and there's a whole lot I want to do. And so I had to start looking at the transfer of the business. And really what happened is that I ask my employees all the time, what do you want to do? What are your dreams? What are your goals? And I asked Cori, I said, what do you want to do when you grow up, kind of thing? And she said, I'd like to own a spa. And I said, how about buying this? And she said, whoa, that was kind of overwhelming. And then she said, I don't think I can because a bank wouldn't make me a loan. And I said, how about Bank of Mimi? So I sold her the spa, and I kept the property.
Yeah. Well, Cori, this is an opportunity for you to kind of interject here a little bit, because it obviously it didn't happen overnight. Tell us a little bit about the transition, how you started working there and got to the position where she was able to ask you this question.
Well, I started at IntlDaySpa almost 10 years ago as a receptionist. I would drive by the spa every day on my way to class, and I was just from the outside amazed by its beauty and eye-catching abilities. You want to go inside and check it out. So I said, I want to work there, and I'm going to help the owner make her business better. I imagined it as this very small operation. And then you open the door, and it's this big, beautiful spa. I mean, the property goes back farther than you imagine. And just starting there as a receptionist, I was amazed by the protocols and systems in place that kept the business running, even if Mimi wasn't present 24/7. I just found my passion by working for her. I never knew before that I wanted to work in the industry. And so I just gradually, worked my way up through management. Loved working for her and everything that I learned from her. And when I knew she wanted to retire, which I never expected that Mimi would want to retire, I just looked at my options and how could I keep this amazing business going? How can I grow this business? I never wanted to see it change or fail after Mimi leaving because of how hard she worked to grow International Day Spa. So, I mean, we were just able to work it out where I could continue it. It's a blessing that it all worked out the way that it did.
No, it's amazing. And stepping back to you again, Mimi, because you had so many years in the business, and I know that, all of us have to think about a transition, but it's never easy. What led you to think that Cori was the right person?
Because she is. She had more background than she is telling us about because she worked for a plastic surgeon, dermatologist in the spa industry. She worked at a big expensive spa in Palm Springs and then kept coming back to me. And so she brought that to it. I saw her capabilities and she's honest. And that was a big thing, and the other employees like her. I did find another buyer before I sold it to Cori and realized that she wasn't honest. And I cannot sell my business to somebody that's not honest. And the employee said, if you sell it to her, we're all leaving. Well, that's the end of the business then, if you don't have good employees.
Yeah.
So Cori is just it.
Right.
I really believe that she was a gift. I believe the timing was right and that it was time for me to leave the spa to become a full-time grandmother, and that here she appeared.
Right.
I think she'd been working about 6 years for me.
Well, isn't it funny? I think, we all know that underneath it all, there are no coincidences.
No.
I mean, things kind of happen for a reason.
Yes.
So I mean, I think that's purposeful. But, what I think is fascinating is that one would think, when you make this transition, that you had come out of the massage industry. Tell us a little bit about that, because you had actually no interest in that specific side.
Right. I mean, working in the spa industry, it would cross my mind every once in a while. Should I become a licensed massage therapist or esthetician? I enjoy the services. I love the industry and coming up with treatments. But I realized my personality, my abilities are not best fit in a room working on a guest. I would be more concerned with what's going on outside. Oh, I'm hearing the phone ring and nobody's answering it. Or, oh, we just got a delivery in that needs to be taken care of. Those are my passions, getting all of that sorted and marketing. So I just came to the conclusion being licensed was not for me, but I was going to have the best licensed massage therapists and estheticians to work with to help me with that side of the business.
Well, that's neat, because it's, the truth is that, as I work inside of organizations, if somebody's told me, if we're all alike, one of us is irrelevant. So the point is that, you have to find those different skill sets.
Right.
Mimi, in your case, as you were building this, I mean, starting as a teacher, and then moving into this, tell us a little bit about how you were able to grow the business. To Cori's point, when she walked in the door, she said, "Oh my God, this is a fully functioning, protocol-driven, business." Give us a little insight into that.
Well, one thing about the beauty industry, it's filled primarily with independent contractors. I'm a control freak. Being a school teacher, it's my classroom, my rules. And so everything is written out. Everybody has notebooks with all the protocols in it, even how you answer the phone, how you wear your name tag, how you shake hands, every little thing. And it's in there. And everybody owns the notebook and things like that. And so it could be passed on. Everything is in order. And so there's never a problem like with discipline or something. Did you follow the protocol? And so that's one of the things. I have forgotten the rest of the question.
No, and I'm gonna pass it on to you, Cori, because I think the point you made is that what Mimi had done is developed a business system.
Right.
And one of the experiences I have, the reason I think a lot of those of us who are a smaller business, because we don't understand that without a system, it's very difficult to grow the business. Tell us a little bit about how you were able to follow hers, and then, you know, build on it and use that as a kind of a mechanism for yourself.
Well, even, you know, like Mimi said, I did venture away from International Day Spa a few times just to grow and learn more about the industry. As I worked for these other places, they would tell me, okay, call tomorrow's appointments and remind them about it. But they weren't giving me a script or policies that they wanted me to relay to the client. If I hadn't learned my scripts from International Day Spa and Mimi, I imagine those voicemails not sounding as fluid or not being able to get my point across.
Right.
So as I left, I was so impressed with all this knowledge that I had gained. When I would come back, I would share with the employees, do you realize what we're learning? Are you valuing what we're performing? Because it's not like that everywhere else. And that's the reason why we are so successful and we continue to grow and we can operate 7 days a week, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. because of our systems. So taking over, I continued those systems, tweaked a few of them, minor, implemented, you know, a few bullet points to keep employees on track, especially when it comes to conflict and, you know, owning the problem, creating a solution on their own. Those are just systems that she created that I was able to continue and make my own.
Well, what it kind of ties in, and what I like about this, you know, one of the principles of good heart leadership is appropriate resources. And one of those things is scripts, it's other things, because, you know, people do the best they can, but they may say something that's totally inappropriate, and if they don't have some game plan, you know, it's very difficult. How did you develop all this stuff, Mimi?
Well, a funny thing about that is my daughter has a degree in business management and business administration from UC Riverside. And so I hired her, and I remember telling her, oh, take care of this problem, take care of this, do this. How do I do this? How do I do this? Because she's the business person. Right. She looked at me and she said, Mom, you know more about running a business because you were a Tupperware lady. Yeah. And that is really where I learned my business. And because it's all customer service and direct sales. Yeah, sure. And the other thing, I learned it from my daddy, who owned a small business. And one thing on the passing on a business that I noticed with my daddy is that he didn't develop his workers to take over his business. And when he died, there was nobody to take over the business, and it closed. And that was very sad because it was a well-established business in Hollywood, been in business since 1928, and we just had to close it because he had not groomed anybody to take over.
So that was a valuable lesson to you,
was
and
very
that was
valuable.
something that you know, and we don't know how long we're going to live, you know, and so that's always an important element of this. But you raised an interesting question. How come your daughter didn't take over?
Because she's a school teacher at UC Riverside now.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
okay.
She's a linguist, teaches English as a second language. And my son did my bookkeeping and all my tech work and everything, but he's an engineer, worked for Boeing, and now he's a middle school math teacher. And so they're teachers.
Yeah.
We just have teacher blood surging through our
Well, and a lot
veins.
of people assume that I'm
Yes.
related, or you know, and that's why I took it over. But there are so many instances where, I mean, the children of the owners, it's not their passion, it's not something they're interested in. So who's going to step in and take over? There's people out there who have those interests. They just need to make it happen.
No, and the reason I asked the question is because I find too many times my clients have a tendency to try to put their children in positions. And here's what I've experienced. They try to put their children into leadership positions and they have neither the passion or the capacity to make it happen. And what I admire about what you did here, Mimi, is that you have to step outside like George Tillery did. And he said, I'm not bringing my children in here, not that I don't love them, but it's not an appropriate place for them. And he found a professional manager. And I'd like us to talk a little bit about that, because I think one of the biggest fears I see as I watch family business and other is making that leap. You know, blood being thicker than water. Is it really good for the business to have children who are not necessarily appropriate for the role that you took? Talk to us a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
About not passing it on to the children?
Yeah, not passing it on the
Yes.
children, and how you can make that transition.
If they had had the passion, and the owner sees the passion in their children, then I think they should pass it on. But my children didn't want it, and I knew that. But something that was really wonderful in my case was to see an employee who wanted the business and had schooled herself in the business so well. And one reason that I had her on staff is that as an owner, I have this body of knowledge and I'm lacking all of this all around. And I believe to be a good leader, you see what you're lacking, where your faults are, where the holes are, and you fill those spots. And a lot of business leaders won't do it because they don't want to bring in somebody smarter than they are. Well, I'm smart in maybe one little area, but all these other areas, I don't know tech, for example. I don't even know how to do Facebook. I don't like Facebook. She knows tech. She has upgraded the spa so much in technical stuff. I'm still paper and pencil. I'm so old school. And so bringing in people that know things. I don't like bookkeeping, so I brought in a bookkeeper. I don't really know massage very well. So I am a massage therapist, but that's not my passion.
No,
so I brought in the best massage therapists that I could. And I think this is important, and I think it's a mistake that owners make in every business to not hire people smarter than they are. And Cori is smarter in certain areas. She's not a hands-on rubbing faces, rubbing bodies person, but boy, business-wise, she's got it.
Right. I think that's a neat segue, because what I've learned from getting to know you a little bit, Cori, is that you have this passion, and you left. Tell me a little bit about that, because I think it's interesting that you worked for Mimi, then you left, and then you turned around and came back, and you two were able to work through that, because that's really a significant.
I never left on bad terms.
Okay.
The first time I left, my now husband, at the time he wasn't my husband yet, but he was going to culinary school in Pasadena. We decided to live there. So I gave my proper notice, still visited the spa when I was in town, and that's when I worked for a medical aesthetic office and learned even more about the industry. And when it was time for us to move back, I did apply for other jobs not in the industry, thinking, oh, maybe I'd rather do like a city job or something more administrative. It just came down to me saying, Mimi, can I have a job back? And she did not hesitate. I didn't get to go back to the job I was originally in. I had to, go in what was available and work my way back up. The second time I left, she sent me packing. She said, there's this job available. You would be perfect for it. I don't want to lose you, but this is what you need to grow. Some of the other employees were like, why are you sending her away?
Wow.
And I worked at this resort spa. I imagined being able to work my way up the corporate side of it, but I missed the connection with clients. Our spas, we know that it's their birthday or that their son is getting married and they want to look good for the wedding. There's a different connection when you're at a hotel, and it wasn't the right fit for me. So I knew that I wanted another job. So again, I started applying other places. And then Mimi emailed me and said, I want you to come back. This is perfect. I kept telling my husband, I need to find a different job because this hotel is not working for me. I just don't feel it anymore.
Sure.
And she asked me to come back, and a year later we transitioned.
And the neat thing about that, and I want to, one of the principles of Good Heart Leadership is shared vision. And the fact that you had the courage to invite her to go elsewhere, to develop her skills, is something that I think, as you pointed out, most leaders lack. They're so self-interested that they never understand that, by selflessly giving away to somebody else, it builds everyone. So I'm really grateful to have this opportunity to share with the two of you, how you were able to grow this business and use principles of leadership that so many businesses lack, And I think, as we were talking about, these are intangibles. How do you actually, measure them? Her giving you this opportunity, But what did it do for you?
It has given me more confidence. In the beginning, I was worried that people were going to doubt me because of my age. I didn't doubt myself, but I was worried about, from the outside looking in, how it was going to be perceived. So I worked as hard as I could to prove to everybody that this business was going to remain minor changes just to improve, functionality and the look of the spa, just updating that. Just proving to people that I'm capable. It didn't take long for me to realize, okay, they're not going to be worried about it anymore. I'm, maintaining this wonderful atmosphere. They're still getting the same services that they want. So I've been able to introduce myself as the owner of International Day Spa, and of course, Mimi's name gets brought up, but I get to say, we still have a great relationship. We email constantly. I say, oh, where did you used to get this supply? I can't find it, and she can tell me. The fact that I can have that relationship with the founder is, it's amazing. It enables me to be a better owner because I have her on speed dial.
Right.
And now I get to be a part of the community. I get to, go to events and tell people about the spa, bring massage therapists, let them do shoulder massages on people, have events and bring in new product, update the treatments, and it's just this world out there that I'm able to bring back into the spa.
Well, I think one of the things that you mentioned is that you kept Mimi's business principally intact, but because of your technological skills, I think you've introduced some concepts that have grown the business. Is that a fair assessment?
Right, yeah. We've been at events for years. Every year we're at the Run Through Redlands performing, free massages on the runners. And it's a great way for people to get to know us. But now with technology, we're able to sell product while we're there, bring in income, sell gift certificates while we're there, away from the spa because of, where technology has come, and it's something that I'm able to utilize to grow the spa.
No, that's so interesting. I think, what I'd like us to do, with the time we have remaining, is talk a little bit about, based on what we've talked about, what would you recommend, Mimi, for someone else thinking about this path to be able to transition? Give us some insights as to what you would recommend they do to kind of move forward.
That is hard because I really don't know that I did anything intentionally. I do believe, as you said earlier, there are no coincidences. I really believe that it just came together as it was supposed to come together. So I don't have any advice other than don't wait too long. I think that the timing was so marvelous on this.
And you did have options. There were others interested, of course, in taking over this business. And I was fortunate enough to be able to sit in on those meetings. Mimi knew I was interested, and she let me, be a part of these meetings of other buyers. And I just heard, okay, we're going to knock down this wall, we're going to change this, we're going to change that. And I think you're able to realize that it wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work.
You have to make the choice. I mean, the spa is her baby. Who are you going to pass it on to that's going to
take care of the baby?
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
Speaking of the baby, I want to tell you something that Cori has done. I had my pet projects. I love to travel, and I have all these international treatments and everything that were not money makers, but they were my passions. They were, but she doesn't have the same passion for travel. She doesn't have the same passion for skincare. Everything new in skincare, I had to do it, I had to try it, I had to do this. And one of the things that Cori did that was so smart was to eliminate my pets because they weren't money makers. And I couldn't do it because I couldn't let go of it. And it was so smart on her part to do that. I want to brag about another thing. Talking about events, she just put on a fabulous 25-year anniversary event that was over the top. She even got in Dr. Murad to come and speak, and which I never would have had the gumption to ask him, and he's a personal friend of mine, but it was just, she did it. She has just taken the reins of this business and driven it in such a positive way, remodeling the interior, just redesigning it kind of, upscale, cute, trendy, got rid of the old lady stuff, which was my stuff, and now I want to do my house the way that she has done the spa. But she's taken it in such a positive direction, And it's been a joy for me to still be related to the spa and come in and, ooh, look what she's done, ooh, look what she's done, and kept the employees happy. That transition is tough.
No, and I think
She did it.
and I think that's important. Tell us a little bit about that, because basically, they're all judging you right now.
Right.
Okay, here, give us a little insight as to how you manage that transition.
It was tricky, and I did choose to remain silent for a certain period of time when it came to what I was going to change, what I was going to keep the same. I wanted to wait until, papers were signed and it was actually mine before I started talking about everything that was going to change. So because I wasn't talking about it, they were making up what they thought was going to happen.
Right.
So I also saw how me choosing to be silent made them make up what they didn't
Right,
know.
no, in the absence of information, we tend to go with
Right.
rumors and develop our own.
Right. So I had to have, a very immediate staff meeting to tell them, I'm not firing you all and hiring all of my family. That wouldn't work. That was something that they thought was going to happen.
Sure.
I'm not switching to independent contractors. You will all remain employees. I just had to show them that all I want to do is continue International Day Spa, grow International Day Spa, benefit them. They have capabilities that could continue to grow and we can enhance. So I had to give them information that I was scared to give them, but once I shared with them what my plan was, it definitely helped.
No, and I think, it's interesting. I think, many of my clients have said that, they want to withhold information from employees because they think it's in their interest. And my experience has been, the more information you pass out, those who want to use it will use it in an effective way. Those who don't, will leave. And it gives them, we're all sponges for information, and to treat people like they're important and they've got brains that they're not utilizing. And I think that was your point that I really like, Mimi, is that you realized a long time ago that, hey, I'm good at this, but if I don't have these other assets, I'm not going to make that happen. And it seems like you've picked up on that.
Right.
And tell us a little bit how you took the framework and simply built on it as opposed to replacing it.
Right. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. Everything that I needed was there. We just had to update it. The spa's been in business for 25 years. There are some things that just had to be updated. Wording on the website, the way the website looks, credit card processing, all that.
All right,
It was all time to update. Even, the type of computers that we use, it all had to be updated. I was slow with the changes. I didn't want to overwhelm the staff or the guests. So we were slow with the changes, but I was able to take her protocols, take her systems, tweak them just to make the spa function even more.
Right.
I don't want to be there 12 days, 7 days a week.
Right.
So what can I do to allow my employees to run the business so that I can be at home with my family when I want to be? That's always been my goal, because I saw that Mimi, she could travel, she could, do her own thing when she chose because of the way we were trained. And that was very important to me to maintain and even accelerate.
And I think that's a valuable lesson that I see too many very small business owners, those micro business owners, never quite get. And that is that a business is only something that runs without you.
Right.
If it can't run without you, it's simply a glorified job. And I think what you've taken from Mimi is that that's what I want to do, so you have time with your child,
Right.
and that's another thing that many people may not understand, but you're a mother.
Yeah.
And you're raising a family, just like you were raising a family in the midst of all this, and I think that sets an example. What I'd like us to do before we kind of wrap this up, tell us again from your perspective, Cori, what would you advise other maybe owners like Mimi to do to be able to draw out somebody like yourself?
You have to find the person that has the passion for your industry. You have to know that they're going to respect what you have built. I have the utmost respect for Mimi and what she created. That's why I continue a relationship with her. I was never interested in severing ties and doing everything my own way. I'm pretty sure I would have failed if I chose that route. So being able to maintain a relationship with the person you're transitioning to, understanding that they are going to change things. It may be tough for you to see that happen, but if you're choosing the right person who's passionate, those changes are only going to benefit your business and the customers that have enjoyed your business for so long. They're going to be able to continue enjoying it.
No, that's wonderful. What I'd like to do is that if you can kind of wrap up what your feelings about transitioning, including the fact that you were talking about she's one of the 40 leaders of Redlands.
Yes.
So go ahead.
Yes. She was chosen as in a program in Redlands with a photographer that's excellent, taking pictures of the 40 under 40. And she's part of that 40 leaders in Redlands who are under 40 years of age. I'm so proud of her for that. That's really exciting.
And that's kind of a legacy because you were in there before.
I was in the 40 Faces of Redlands on the people important in making Redlands.
Right. And then the second
latest.
phase was featuring community leaders under 40.
Yes.
So it was exciting that we were both a part of this project 5 years apart.
No, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Now, I'd like both of you to tell us how we can get in touch with you, that the audience can find you and get a hold of both International Day Spa, and maybe even to talk to either of you about how they might make this transition. Would that be okay?
I would be happy to help people. I'm a volunteer teacher at the high schools on business, and I love to share what's in my head and get it out there. People can contact me at Mimi at IntlDaySpa.com. And
We have our website, internationaldayspa.com. My email address is on there. If anybody needs to get in touch with Mimi, they can for sure go through the spa. We continue to pass messages on to her. We're also open 9 to 9, 7 days a week. Anyone can stop by to visit us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
This is an example of good heart leadership in action, and I'm so grateful to have both Mimi and Cori here to talk about this today, because the truth is that when you're able to do well by doing good, you can make a difference in the community, as these two ladies have here. And we encourage you to participate. If you'd like to know more about what we do, go to andersonbusiness.com. You can see more resources there, and obviously you can get a hold of either Mimi or Cori at your convenience. Thank you very much.
Anderson Business Coaching inspires extraordinary organizational results by engaging the talents of ordinary people. ABC opens the communication links from the top to the bottom of the organization to tap into an untapped reserve of creative ideas and solutions by the people who do the work every day. Secondly, we identify external resources that have the experience and capability to develop systems and processes that the internal staff can manage.
International Day Spa is a quiet retreat where you can escape and renew your body, mind, and spirit. Offering massages, facials, waxing, body wraps, and hydrotherapy treatments. Our 100-year-old Victorian cottage in historic downtown Redlands is a peaceful oasis our guests love. International Day Spa's newest treatments include Himalayan saltstone massage, red clay body mask, and an express power peel. We are open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day, and appointments can be scheduled by calling 909-793-9080.